Did you know that India was one of the first non-communist countries to recognize the People's Republic of China? Back in the 1950s, the relationship between these two giant neighbors was often summed up by the popular slogan, Hindi Chini Bye Bye, which means Indians and Chinese are brothers. There was a spirit of solidarity, a shared vision of an Asian century free from colonial influence. So, what happened? How did this dream of brotherhood turn into a reality of border disputes and deep-seated mistrust? Let's rewind to the beginning. After their respective formations, both nations were focused on building themselves up. India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, was a strong advocate for China's inclusion in the global community. He championed China's cause at the United Nations and was a key figure in the 1955 Bandung Conference, which aimed to promote Afro-Asian economic and cultural cooperation. The relationship seemed to be built on a solid foundation of mutual respect and shared post-colonial aspirations. The first cracks appeared over the issue of Tibet. In 1959, after a Tibetan uprising, the Dalai Lama fled to India and was granted asylum. This act, which India viewed as a humanitarian gesture, was seen by Beijing as a provocation. This event significantly strained the relationship, but the biggest test was yet to come. The core of the conflict has always been the border. The dispute centers on two main areas, Aksai Chin in the west, which China controls, but India claims, and Arunachal Pradesh in the east, which India administers, but China claims. For years, these competing claims simmered under the surface. India operated under the belief that the border issues could be resolved peacefully through dialogue, trusting in the spirit of bye-bye. However, things took a dramatic turn in 1962. A series of border skirmishes escalated into a full-blown war. The conflict was short but decisive, and it fundamentally altered the relationship forever. From the Indian perspective, this was a profound shock, a betrayal of the trust that had been carefully nurtured. The war left deep scars on the Indian national psyche and shattered the romantic notion of brotherhood. Since then, the relationship has been a complex mix of cooperation and competition. There have been periods of relative calm and attempts to normalize ties. In 1988, a visit by the Indian Prime Minister to Beijing marked a significant thaw, leading to increased trade and diplomatic engagement. Economic ties grew exponentially, with China becoming one of India's largest trading partners. It seemed like shared economic interests might pave the way for a more stable political relationship. However, the border issue has remained a persistent source of tension. Over the years, there have been numerous standoffs, including the Doklam incident in 2017 and the Galwan Valley clash in 2020, which was the most serious confrontation in decades. These events have repeatedly brought the two nuclear-armed neighbors to the brink, reminding the world that the underlying conflict is far from resolved. The trust deficit that began in 1962 has only deepened with each new confrontation. So, the story of the China-India relationship is not a simple one. It's a journey from proclaimed brotherhood to strategic rivalry. It is a tale of shared dreams that were ultimately overshadowed by conflicting national interests and unresolved territorial disputes. Understanding this history is key to understanding the complex dynamics that shape Asia and the world today. What do you think the future holds for these two giants? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history and geopolitics.